Welcome to Serenity. This is a podcast where we're talking all things health and healing, healing that mind space. We are speaking with a couple of courageous young ladies here today, and they're sharing stories of trauma that started back in early childhood. We are digging deep. We are uncovering some issues that we know that so many young girls are still suffering through today in our community and beyond. We are getting down to the depths of it, and we're also sharing their story of healing, their healing journey, how there is help for the wounded, how they had the courage after years to come out and to get help, seek help for themselves. Oftentimes, we're so much more concerned about others than we are about ourselves. But getting the courage to finally stand up for yourself, use your voice, take care of yourself, and use your God given gifts to heal. Not only do you have the God given gift to heal the body, but to heal the mind, right? Through the help of the right therapist at the right time in the right season of your life. We're going to talk to a couple of women today who have done just that. And we know that if you stick with us long enough, it's sure to bless you. Day out there. We're here at Serenity. I am Dr. Tanya, and with me I have Letitia here. And we're going to talk a little bit about her journey, her healing journey, her journey to wellness this afternoon. So if you would please join us. We want to touch your heart. We want to encourage you to just know that guess what? There's help out there, and guess what? Healing is available to all. So with that being stated, I want to turn and just kind of introduce you guys, and we're going to have a little chit chat, and we're going to let you all sit in on it. So how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good. So had an awesome opportunity to meet you and just learn a little bit about your story, but I want you to take a moment to just tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you really?
I'm Letitia Petrie. I'm a mother of two from Houston, Texas. I work and take care of my girls.
Oh, I know. How old are you girls?
18 and 7.
Oh, wow. That's good. I did that same thing. I had that age gap situation going on. So I feel you on that one for sure. So the reason why you're here today is because you have undergone a unique journey, and it's a journey that oftentimes when I'm communicating with folks, I'm having that conversation. Like a lot of the journeys that we go through in life are so much more for others than they are for us. And you have had an amazing journey. So I really want to talk to you about that, and then I want to talk to you about where we are on the other end. So tell us a little bit about how this journey began. Where did it all begin?
It began when I was like 13 years old. We had went to Houston to a convention, Jehovah Witness convention. And I was with my best friend and her mom. We stayed by her uncle's house. And I woke up in the middle of the night to go use the restroom. And he put a knife to my throat and took me in the bathroom. And at the time, I didn't know what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I never told my mom. I never told nobody. But I started acting out like really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so it took me. I ended up going to CPS because I was acting out. In CPS, we still got molested in CPS as well by the staff members that's supposed to be helping us.
Mm-hmm. And so you said this was at the age of 13.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So you're there, you're a 13-year-old, and typically when when we send our kids off somewhere with somebody, we're thinking we're sending them from our safety right into another safety. And I'm pretty sure that when you were leaving your mom's home and you were going off to a spiritual convention, everything in your mind was about what were your thoughts kind of like heading out there? What were you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Just maybe probably looking forward to the trip, right?
Yeah.
But then you have this situation that happens, like you think that it's okay for you to be able to get up and just go use the restroom at night, right? And you found yourself in a situation to where someone who was supposed to be there as an adult, right, to protect you, violated you, basically, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, in that moment, being there and being in that space and in that place, is that the moment where the switch went off that just kind of threw everything else off? Because I heard what you said about the rest of it, like when you were talking about like having to go into CPS, like having issues in school and things like that. Was it a flip right then, or did it take a little bit of time?
It definitely took a little time, but I guess because I never said nothing, and I guess I was holding it in, and I just started acting out. My grandma passed, and I just started acting out like stuff that I knew I shouldn't have been doing. I was doing. It was hard.
Why do you think it was that you found it difficult to immediately like tell an adult what happened?
Me and my mother, we really like didn't like see eye to eye growing up, so like I didn't feel comfortable telling her.
Telling your mom. What about your friend's mom? The one that, because I think you went down there with your friend
with my best friend mom
and her mom. What about her? Why do you feel as though you had that? You had that.
I didn't tell her because, like I said, he put a knife to my throat. So of course I'm not gonna tell her. That's her brother. And I was scared.
That fear, right? And the reason why I'm asking is because by no means, I've been doing this long enough that the sad thing in all of this is that by no means is your story like so isolated, right? And so I'm asking because I want you to speak to the heart of somebody else who's out there who's feeling that same kind of way. When you take a look, especially in our community, at instances of domestic abuse or instances of sex offense that's happened with us, right? Especially us little brown girls, right? Take a look. And if you got 3 girls that are standing there, you can count 1, 2, you. That third one is probably someone that has been offended in some kind of way, and oftentimes it's in a way that's sexual. But even with that, even with you being able to count and point that finger at that person, the sad thing is guess what? That little girl probably didn't tell anybody either. Okay. So that's why I was asking, because I just want to know like what was really going on at that time. But like you said, that fear, and then also oftentimes in our community, not really having those family connections, right? Not enough of a family connection that would allow you to feel as though you could be open enough to share that with your mom and actually really get a positive result. Because there had to be some kind of fear about how she was going to respond to what you had to say, right? And so you held all this in, didn't really say anything, and because you were holding all this in, when you're at that age, I used to be a middle school principal, and I taught middle school for like nearly 20 years, right? And so I know that when you're at that age, sometimes you have a hard time communicating or coping with what's going on. And so that's when a lot of that other stuff happens. And then what I heard you say was, yeah, shoot, I held it all in. And then I just started acting out in school, right? So you start acting out in school. Tell me, how did that manifest itself? Were you fighting? Were you just rebellious or?
Fighting, rebellious. I was a mess.
At what point did did they say, you know what, we got it now, we got to involve CPS? What was that?
She ended up putting me into a mental hospital.
Your mom or?
Yeah, my mom.
Okay.
And so after I got out the mental hospital, I kept running away.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up calling the CPS to take me.
Now, did she give a reason? Did you have an understanding as to why, especially like even at that age? Like, was there a reason like, well, you're actually being admitted into a mental hospital at the age of what, 13-ish, 14-ish? For what? What was that reason?
She just said that I was going crazy because I was doing so much stuff.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel as though you were, just kind of looking back on it, do you feel as though you were going through some form of psychosis, or do you feel as though you were kind of like on an elevated measure of kind of like some of the typical things that actually happened in school at that time with kids of that age?
Yeah, I think it was just typical. Well, not typical,
but like elevated. Like, these are things that we kind of do, because in middle school you kind of rebellious, right? In middle school you take chances, you do things that you may not necessarily do. But the thing that I find interesting is that sometimes in middle school is where they do what? They start misdiagnosing kids, right?
Yes.
They let it go through elementary school, but that's why they say, oh my God, I can't believe you're able to teach middle school, because how do you handle those kids in the middle, right? It's right after the age that the parents really are very active and they're coming up to the school all the time. They stop doing that when kids get in middle school, and you can just hang it up really all together in high school. Like, nobody's really coming to anything. You kind of on your own, right? So tell me, being in that place, in that space, how did you feel there in that place, in that space? It's like, man, okay, I don't feel as though anything is wrong with me. Obvious, they feel as though something is wrong with me, and now I'm finding myself in this place away from home. How did you feel in that?
I was just ready to get out. I mean, I didn't really feel nothing. It was like I wasn't surprised. I mean,
were you not surprised because of everything that had happened up until that point?
I don't know. I just wasn't surprised. I mean, I was just ready to go at this point, because I mean, at that point, yeah, I thought I was crazy too. But then, over the years, I started to realize that, yeah, I wasn't crazy. It was just a lot that had happened, that I was acting out, seeking attention. And sometimes when you seek attention, you get yourself in trouble. So.
Because you got to choose what kind of attention you really want. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So when did you so you're there, you're in the mental health facility. What kind of help did you get while you were there? What kind of care did you get while you were actually there? Because you said, hey, now the people that are supposed to be here helping us are, abusing us as well. Was it in the center, or was it only in foster care, or
in like majority of the foster group homes I was in? I was in a lot because I ran away. So I was in like maybe 12 out of 12 of the homes. At least we was molested in like 5 or 6 of the homes.
Wow. So let's say you're in this place with these strangers or whatnot, and these folks are mishandling you. They're paying people to keep you and supposedly take care of you, right? But these people are mishandling you. What do you believe it was? Because here we go again with this pattern. This is what I'm thinking. So here we go again with this pattern. Well, couldn't tell my friend's mom, couldn't tell my mom. Then now you're in this place where these people are getting paid to take care of you, and they're abusing you. What do you think was the thing that kept you from speaking out then at that time?
We had, in the first home I got to, it was a girl. I don't remember her name, but she was a little bit older than us, and she had said something to the director of our home, and they ended up kicking her out. So like, Where she went, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But so sometimes when you see stuff, you hear stuff, and nobody really cares in the system. They basically just there. It's really corrupt in there. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's hard and it's very hard. But
Mm-hmm.
you're not gonna tell you. You know not to tell if you don't want to be on the streets.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That's real. So about how long were you there? How long were you going through that
I
phase?
aged I aged out of foster care.
Wow. So you aged out, and typically you age out what, like at
18.
18? It's like, so now what? You've been going through this all this time, and even though you had the fear of sharing what was going on with you, at least you felt like this is at least what I kind of know to be some kind of measure of safe, right? But then you turn 18 and then you age out. What happens when you age out?
It depends. If you got family, you can go with your family. If you don't
Mhm.
have no family, you just out there like
Mhm.
you just aged out. 18, gotta be gone.
So what happened in your case?
My stepmama was here, so
Mhm.
I ended up going with my stepmama and my stepsisters.
Mhm.
So that's
So
what
that's good. So at what point in your journey did you feel that it's like, man, now I have some real help? Now, how did you get introduced to some real help, real support, real therapy?
um I after I had my oldest daughter, I started counseling session. So I think that's what really broke me because I don't want my children to go through nothing that I
Mm-hmm.
went through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for my girls.
Mm-hmm.
That's healed me a lot.
Now, how old were you when that happened?
Like 26.
About 26. So how were you introduced to therapy, to real therapy, like real help? How did that come? Did it just almost kind of like by mistake, or is there some kind of way that you got,
No,
God just made it happen to where you got introduced to the right kind of help and support? Did someone, did your mother, your stepmom
no, I
connect you
had
or help you?
counseling all through while I was in CPS and everything. It just didn't
Mm-hmm.
work.
Mm-hmm.
Like because y'all teaching me this are trying to help me, but y'all still letting us get hurt, and y'all know.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but then my sister, she's actually a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
My stepsister, and she took care of me because my stepmama was in a wheelchair, so she took care of me for the most part, and she made sure I was okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So is she the one that introduced you to some real help,
Yeah,
real therapy?
yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Um, Having the ability to go through some real therapy, right? To where you're seeing, okay, now I feel like, right, I am, it's something in me is being refilled, something in me is being rejuvenated, something in me is being renewed or whatever. Given to that point, talk to us a little bit about your healing journey. Like, what was that like making that shifting from feeling like, hey, nobody's going to help, nobody's coming, to, you know what, I can actually see the light at the other end of the tunnel. Talk to us about that.
Actually, I don't think like sometimes you can heal, but you're not healed.
That's deep.
And I've came a long way,
Mm-hmm.
a long way, but I still hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I still got a lot of pain. I got a
Mm-hmm.
lot,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard, but you gotta keep fighting when you got kids.
Absolutely.
It's
Mm-hmm.
no rest. It's no nothing. Like you have to keep fighting for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
So
So do you feel as though you're well on your way to that? Are you still connected with that good sound therapy, or are you finding new ways, new help to kind of move you in that direction?
honestly, to tell you the truth, I drink a lot of it away.
Mm-hmm. So you're still drinking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you're at a point now though, and this is what's huge, is You're at a point now though to where you actually understand the reason behind your drinking. Like you have the knowledge that, hey, this is not just a social situation, right?
Right.
That I'm drinking away some things, that I'm attempting to wash away some things that just can't be washed away with whatever is in this bottle, right? So I'm gonna tell you something, okay? So the you cannot, one thing that I learned a long time ago is that you cannot kill what you can't confront, right? And so even just sitting here having this conversation with you today, I'm like, you know what? You're right where you need to be, because you're not sitting somewhere obliviously thinking that you just on the turn up, because you still can be on the turn up. You're just drinking, you having a good time, and you're chilling, kicking it, life a party, not life a party, just at the party, right? And it's all a cover up. But you saying, hey, I'm saying right now that it's a cover up, but it's not the kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Cover up that you think. I'm attempting to heal through the use of this alcohol, right? So for you to even be able to articulate that and to have that conversation right now today lets us know that you can be healed, because you already know, you're confronting right now, right here, what that situation is. Does that make sense to you?
No.
Does that make sense? Now, the therapy that you're getting right now, you still getting therapy, right?
No.
Or have you stopped?
I stopped.
Okay. So that's where we know, right? That needs to happen is you need to be reconnected to a source that's going to put you in a position to where you can heal appropriately, right? Because some battles we just can't fight alone, right? Because if in your own mind and your own thoughts and in your own being and in everything in your own power, if you could do it on your own, it would already be done.
Right.
It would already be done. Right? So let's talk about true, pure healing that not only you know represents healing, but that anyone who comes into contact with you knows represents healing. So I just want you to do something. I want you to just close your eyes and just take a deep breath in for 4 seconds. Just breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold it at the top and then breathe out 4 seconds. And if you can just see your perfect, everything is good, everything is good, everything is good, tell me what that looks like.
Just for my girls to succeed, basically.
Mm-hmm. And what's your part in all of that? What does that look like for you? Because I'm gonna tell you something, okay? What happens for your girls, right? That success that they're gonna see is directly related to your success as well, right? So in order for you to help them to see success, then you absolutely have to be able to see a measure of success yourself, is right? So let's try that again. Because I want you to see yourself in that picture. And I want you to see yourself in a healed place. Just tell me what you see. Like, and it's good. Like I'm standing here, I can see myself, and this is what I see, and it's good. What does that look like? You're standing there. You're in the picture. You're not just watching somebody else's story unfold.
I don't know. I can't tell you that.
Wow. But what you do know is what? That you want to get there, right? Yeah. Okay. So we're in a good place, because guess what? You know that you want more. You know that you want something different, right? So let's do this. Let's talk about where you are on a scale of 1 to 10, your measure of commitment to where you're ready to take that next step and go and do something different. Where are you at with that right now? How ready are you for that?
A 10.
Hey, and you know what? That's the answer. That's the answer. Because anytime you're not at a 10, then we got more work to do to get you to the 10 just so that you'll be ready to get that connection. So guess what? The blessing in all of that is what? Serenity is here, right? So we're here for you. We are ready for you. We are excited about having the ability to connect on a deeper level, and to take you places in your healing where you've admitted here today that you've never been, but it is in your heart and in your imagination to get there, right? So I'm excited about it. Um, any any final words? Anything else that you feel that you want to share, that you want to give back? I challenge you to think back to that place in you where you know you're still in a situation and you want to get out of the situation. What is it? Is there anything that you wish somebody would have been there to tell you, to share with you, that would have helped you? That part of you, that struggling part of you, that part of you that was struggling to get out of the cycle. What words of encouragement do you think, or what words of direction?
Honestly, I really don't know. I know, like when my mom and them was growing up, a lot happened to them, and it was a lot swept under the rug that wasn't out with my uncles and all of them. Instead of them saying, I would say, I want my kids, if anybody ever do them anything, to come to me and tell me. Like, don't hide it. Let me know immediately.
Yeah, because I think that fear is so fake. False evidence appearing real, right? That was so fake. Like, to put you in a place to where you felt like there was nobody you could go to. So I like that. I like that, sharing that information with somebody out there who is in that place where you're stuck and you're feeling like there's nobody that you can talk to. There's nobody that you can go to get help. It's fake. Just like, what's that? President Donald Trump would say, that's fake news. That is fake news. There is someone out there. There is help out there for you. So that's our word of encouragement. For those of you who are out there feeling like there's nowhere to go, reach out. If you just reach your hand out, God is going to bring a connection for you. There's going to be some kind of a connection out there for you to get the help that you need. And so I'm just glad. I'm so glad that I had an opportunity to talk to you today. I'm so glad that I'm sitting here with somebody who's bold enough, number one, to confront the facts of what's going on, but to say, you know what, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm all in. I'm ready to tackle this thing. I'm ready to go in here and once and for all break the generational curses. Once and for all break the stigma that exists in my own heart, in my own mind, and say once and for all, I'm going to do what I need to do for me so that I can do what I need to do for what my descendants, my kids, my heirs, right? To put them in another place. So it's been an amazing pleasure talking to you, thinking about moving forward and thinking about your most positive expectation, like great things to come. What is that great thing that you're looking forward to? And we think about all of this. We think about going into a place where, yeah, I'm about to connect with this community and I am going to see the healing that is truly there for me. What is your positive outlook? What is that expectation that you have? What's the best thing that can happen for you?
Just the best thing I think to happen for me is to start my own restaurant.
Yes, that's it. That's it. If you can see it, you can believe it, you can achieve it, right? So we're going to work on the inside so then we can work on the outside things, right? And live that life that you were purposed to live. And one of the things that you said before that really hit me so deeply, and it was so much all about everybody else, because you said, well, hey, I had to do something because I had my kids and I had to make it. I had to keep going because I had my kids. But guess what? You got you. And one of your babies is about to be grown. And then that next step, that thing, I got my restaurant, right? And I'm feeding people. I'm feeding their physical bodies, but you don't know who all's going to walk through those doors that if you share, you ain't even got to share your testimony. If you just share words with them, they're just looking forward to coming in there and being connected to your spirit, right? And that's the thing that goes forth for decades. don't stop.
Right.
Right? So that's beautiful. I'm like super excited about it. I'm super excited to see what's going to happen, what's going to come from it, and all of that. I'm super excited to be connected throughout the healing journey and beyond. So I'm just saying to you, my queen, blessings, blessings, and more blessings. This has been great. This has been great. Danielle, it's so good to have you in here this afternoon to just kind of chit chat with you a little bit. It was a pleasure meeting you, learn that you have a powerful testimony to share so that we can bless some folks out there who are potentially going through some of the things that you have been through, and creating just a position and a safe place for them to hear and learn about that hope that lies ahead. So I want to just go ahead and kind of like just dig into it a little bit. If you would, Danielle, just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I want to chit chat with you for a little bit.
Okay. My name is Danielle Bowie. I'm just turned 41. I'm a mother of 3, single mother of 3. I live in Houston, Texas. I'm from originally Indianapolis. Been here since I was about 7. Moved here with my mom and my little sister at the time. Right now, I'm working. I work with children with autism. I'm a behavior therapist. And at the point in my life where I am ready to share my story, open up a little bit more, see how it can be used to help others from any ages.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's beautiful. That's the amazing part in all of it. And just mentioning that, let's just kind of go back. Let's just talk about your story. Let's talk about where it all began. Tell us where it all began.
I guess it began when we moved down here. My grandmother had passed in Indianapolis, and my mom had already started coming here because her sister lived here.
Okay. And about how old were you at the time?
I was 7.
Okay.
I was 7. Yeah, I was about 7 once I moved here. My mom had met a man before she had started coming here, and they had started dating. And when we moved down here, we moved with him. And I think it was maybe about 2 years into the relationship, because I know when it started, I was about 8 or 9. My mom was real funny about men being around, always, my whole life, even before and after. I think we've probably had my whole life, 2, 3 men around, And so I believe it had to have been around the summer because my mom was working. She was in retail, so she was always at work all day long. And it started when she would go to work. Actually, I used to go in my mom's purse and take a little change, or if she had change around and stuff like that, and he knew it. And one day my mom asked, and she was like, "Someone taking my money?" And she was like, "Well, where did you get that money from?" And he said, "Well, I gave it to her." I knew he was lying, so that's how the trust kind of started building up. And my mom started to go to work, and he would tell me to come into the room with him and watch TV. And I would, and he would start to touch me and stuff like that. How vulgar can I go?
You can be as descriptive as you are comfortable with. And yeah, because when I ask you a little bit more questions, like what we really want to have happen is, if there's anybody out there that's going through anything similar to what it is that you've gone through, and either they're having a hard time processing it or whatever, we want to make sure that that is helping them. So whatever you feel is going to help somebody else, share it. Let's lay it all out there, and we're going to pick through it, and we're going to bless somebody today.
Okay. Well, it started with him rubbing his penis on me and kind of like hunching me between my legs and stuff like that. He never penetrated me, thank God, but he never penetrated me, but he would make me give him oral sex and stuff like that. And it probably went on for about a year.
Now, how old was he? So you said you were about 7, right?
At this time, I was about 8 or 9.
Okay.
8.5. It had been about a year.
Okay. And so would you say that
around before it started?
Would you say that before it actually started? Because you said something about, and I'm not sure if it was after the 2-year period or if it was more so in the beginning, that building trust part.
Right.
I know I remember hearing a term that where they talk about how assailants, what they do is they train the kids. Do you feel like some of that, did it take some time for some of that to happen? Do you feel like that was happening? Like, yeah,
Before.
you know, that him telling my mom, oh no, I gave her that money, like taking up for you, other little things and signs that can be considered as you being trained.
What he did was he made it as if he was dating me. He gave me the perception as if he was into me, or as if like a man was approaching a woman. Same feeling, same protection, same energy, but it's just he was a grown man and I was 7. I know me and my mom are about 16 years apart, and he was older than my mom, so he had to been probably in his 30s, probably about in his 30s. Yeah, probably about in his 30s.
Now, was he the same when your mom was around, or was it different? So did it feel like you were dating if your mom wasn't around, but it didn't feel like that when your mom was around?
Correct. Yeah. It was, he played 2 different roles. 2 different roles. When my mom was around, he played the role like he was a man who didn't interact with children, or he played the role as if he was the man and he knew his place, that was a child. So it was different. It was different. It didn't go on like for years. It wasn't an ongoing thing. I know that I had a little sister at the time, so I used to try to keep my sister. Like, I knew it was wrong, but then it's almost like it made me feel grown at the same time. It made me feel grown at the same time. And I guess because he didn't endure the pain, it was hard for me to separate of how wrong it was. Does that make sense?
That does make that absolutely makes sense. It just seems as though he was just very careful, to make it enjoyable for you as long as he could, until you can process it, and that's deep. That's deep.
And the hardest part, what it did was, it made me start to lie to my mother and hide from my mother. And it changed because I never hid nothing from my mom. Like, we had a very open house. And so it changed. My grades started dropping. I started getting in trouble. I started to, it was a couple of times that I actually initiated promiscuous things with children around me. I never let it go too far, but I did. I tried. It was never in me before. But something told me it was wrong, and I stopped. And it all happened like right around that time. And so years went on. My mom and the man, they stopped dating or whatever the case may be. It didn't make, so years go on, I wasn't really promiscuous but I wasn't the mind.
Mm-hmm.
I had thoughts, I had dreams. I probably started pleasing myself at a very young age. Um, I never really trusted men after that, even till today. My mom says I threw them away.
Mm-hmm.
They don't believe I really can love somebody, but I believe I love the people that come around me. But they say I don't because I throw them away so easy. Um,
Now, did you ever, I guess, when you were still a child, have a conversation with your mom about it, or?
So, I had my first child when I was 17. I started really kind of wanting to do what I wanted to do between 16 and 18. I had my first child at 18. Between 16 and 18, I got real rebellious. I got real disrespectful with my mom. And I never forget, we was in the kitchen and she was like, she was yelling at me and she was saying that she just doesn't know who I am. I'm this and whatever. Like, talking, very negative.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just blurting out, well, I'm like this because your boyfriend did this to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I came out in anger.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I walked away and we both just got quiet. And then she came in there and she said, I knew something happened. And she said, and I asked you for years. I asked you, did something happen? I asked you, I kept asking you. And she said, why didn't you tell me? And I said, when your mom is strict, when she's firm and she's this and that, and if she disciplines you and this and that, then you know that she will react. And you don't want your parents to get in trouble behind. At that time or in that situation, you feel that you allowed to happen, that you were involved in, that you engaged in. So it was more so out of protecting you, you know. And then that's the role that I had as well, because I was the oldest child. My mom had me at a young age, so I always came in as a protect mode with my mom, you know. And so she made me, I think, like not even 24 hours, we went to the police station. And she made me fill out a report. And we didn't, I think it had exceeded the time, but they still, it's crazy how things happen too, because that happened. I did the report. I told them everything like I just told you. And I think after that, the detective called back and said that we had exceeded the timeline. And a couple months later, he ended up going to jail for other things for years. Like, I don't even think it was 2 months later. They picked him up on some other things, ended up going to judges. But, yeah, after that, me and my mom's relationship changed dramatically. It became at peace. I was able to let go of holding something from my mother, you know?
Yeah, because that's that's a huge burden to bear, right? And oftentimes in, for women, period, little girls, oftentimes there's so much that we hold on the inside. And I hear your story, it touches my heart. And, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry you had to, hold that, Danielle, because that's a lot. As a little girl, that's a lot for you to have to hold on to, and holding up your sister, holding up your mom, and really going through those years, and even like some of those formative years of your life, right at the end of your formative years, you're finding yourself having to be a protector and going into this relationship that you really don't understand, is an absolute inappropriate relationship to allow yourself to keep getting strung into. So my heart goes out to you for that. I'm saying, oh my gosh, I hate that you had to go through that. I hate to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you're sitting here just absolutely glowing and gorgeous, like you're sitting on the other side of all of that. And there's so much promise that has come from your pain, right? And so want to talk a little bit about that. Want to talk a little bit about that point of transition, that time that takes you from where you find yourself having played these different roles and performed these different acts and things, knowing that they were wrong, but finding yourself still going down that spiral, right? And struggling alone to pull yourself from it, to a point in time when you started feeling like you were getting some help with that, right? Some help with allowing you to sort through the not only what happened, just processing, years after the fact, processing what happened, processing your emotions as it relates to what happened, but then moving into a place of healing so that you can see the positive end results. Talk a little bit about that, the process of healing. When did it first start? What did that look like?
After that happened, we moved. And we moved. Me and my 2 other friends joined the church, which is us. No adults, nothing. We walked to church every Sunday. Got myself baptized at 9. And I started to understand and separate the flesh from spiritual. I went through life and I taught myself not to put so much on other people and their actions. And kind of understand that a lot of things be a chain effect. A lot of things might have happened to somebody else and they didn't have the help, or they didn't know God or understand the bigger point, and they kept doing it because you stopped at a young age. So something was there to stop you. Because if wasn't nothing there for me, I would have kept doing it. I would have ruined a little boy's life or a little girl's life or took their innocence away. And I'm a child, but I still could have done it. And so that got me through a lot of life. But it got me through to understand other people. Maybe 2015 or something, I started having sessions with Dr. Prophet.
And how old were you at that time?
Grown. Was that 6-7 years ago, maybe? Maybe 6-7 years ago? Maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And before then, I had never had any counseling or any help or anything like that. So I thought that I was going through life because my heart wasn't heavy. But I had to realize that I remember he made a statement and he talked about that situation. And he said that, a lot of times when trauma or things like that happen, the child stops growing right there. And it just made so much sense, like on my accomplishments, my commitment, my relationships, my everything. Like I didn't, it's like it kind of shut down certain things to where I was just moving, but I wasn't processing and growing of the steps that people hit in certain points of their lives. It's like sometimes you can brainwash yourself to think that you're okay because it's not showing. You're not hurting anybody. You're not affecting the world, shall I say, in a negative way. But it made me realize that, it made me think of the dreams I had, the things that I wanted to do, and this and that and that. I never gave myself that. It's like when certain things like that happen, it puts an insecurity, it puts a self-worth over you. It takes away, or it puts this, what's the word I'm looking for? Self-worth, or that you're not worthy of certain things.
Yeah, that you're not worthy. So that's basically what that is. I know I've heard the term when term used that you have like what they call a genesis of identity, right? So you have life that's happening and you're living life, but then you have this thing that happens, and that thing causes you to just shift your whole identity, the way that you see yourself, the way you see yourself succeeding or not succeeding, that place where you got stuck. This is the place where I got stuck. The genesis of identity, the place where I labeled myself as one who was not going to do it, the one who was not worthy. I identified myself as unworthy. And so that's what you're talking about, is that moment when the genesis, the start of that new identity, but it was a limiting identity, right? And then you mentioned how, I guess then you started, after that point is where you started sessions with Dr. Prophet, right? How were you introduced into that? How did you find out about the fact that, hey, there's some good therapy out there? Where do you even find that information?
It's crazy. I worked with a company, Live Real Estate, and we started off with morning motivation. He wanted to start his employees off with the week with a positive asset, and Dr. Prophet came on and said words like that, and then it just transpired into personal sessions and one-on-one sessions, and it's just how it happened. It didn't even start, I don't think, to talk about the past, but it just kind of went there, you know.
So there's power when these corporations and these companies out here say, you know what, we're going to take some time out and we're going to do something for our employees. We're going to put something in place that will allow them to have a moment of mindfulness before they get started with their day. And that little moment of mindfulness for you actually has turned into a healing journey that has really blossomed, allowed you to blossom into the beautiful woman that you are today.
Because before that, I kind of value myself as being able to take criticism, being able to break myself down and rebuild myself back up. And, if I was lacking in this area, then putting it back and putting it back into myself. But it took so long. And then after those sessions, I started thinking, just think about if I would have begun therapy. Because I've always believed in therapy, but I never really did it because I'm running around here and I'm actually thinking that I'm okay and I can do it by myself. What if I would have started so young and so long ago? 20, 21 years, even at 18, it's like, I could have been broke down the walls. I could have been realized what it was as a young woman, and moving on and taking steps. And, because in reality, since I've started those sessions, I've changed my life. I changed my life, I changed where I'm going. But because I started so long and so later on in life, I'm here and it's looking like it's no progress. But if I was 21, 18, I would be 25 and that would have been 5 years. I've made so much progress and it would be different.
I'm going to challenge you on that. I'm going to challenge you on that because I tell you what, one of the things that I've learned, and you mentioned, you talked about God, so I know that you're a woman of faith, right? And in my years, that I think are probably at least a couple of decades older than you, what I've learned, the beauty in God is that He is a redeemer of the time. He's a redeemer of the time. So I'm saying, honey, you don't have to beat yourself up for saying, you know what, if I would have done it then this is how. We don't know. We don't know. What we do know is that His timing is perfect, right? And and again, what you said as well is, you said, you know what, I've done this, I've done that, I've done the other thing, and now I feel like now I'm ready to tell my story, right? And so I believe that the beauty in everything that's gonna come of the treatment that you've received, of the strategies that were used by Dr. Prophet. One of the things that I heard when I was first told about Dr. Prophet is that, like, he's kind of like a master mechanic, like, of the mind. He can talk to you and he'll tweak this, turn that, push that, and before you know it, you're sitting over on the other side, right? So it's beautiful to know that at whatever time it was, that in the right time, in the divine time, that you were connected with effective strategies to assist you in dealing with identifying, right? Some things that have caused you to be stuck, right? Going through different matters of the mind to put you in a position to where you're now unstuck, but then allowing you the strategies and things that are needed, that what neuro-linguistic programming, right? All those different things, that cognitive dissonance, because it sounds like dealing with that is what needed to happen with you, because you're thinking as the glass half empty when it was half full all the time, right? But doing that's what that tweaking and that shifting and things like that are. And that's the beauty in receiving the right kind of therapy, because the right kind of therapy is going to bring in those types of strategies that are going to help you to see things for what they really are, right? Versus allowing your own limiting beliefs to keep you from excelling, right? So it was in you all the time. It's that you needed the right therapist with the right tools and the right passion to bring that out of you, and now then coach you through the process, right? Because it's an everlasting journey.
It is.
It's not a 2-second fix, right? So you've had to spend some time in therapy, some time with the strategies and things like that to get you to where you are now. And so that's the beauty in all of it, honey, is number one, not only, like I said, is God not a respecter of time, but he's a redeemer of it. So for every year that you feel as though you've lost in the game, he's already got that taken care of for you, because now that you're ready to pour out, there's people that have been on standby waiting to hear what it is that you have to say, right? Waiting to hear that testimony, because the words of your testimony is going to push them to their solution. Okay. And so I challenge you now, if you were right now in this moment, think back to that place where you are. I want to hit you in a couple of different places, but first I want to take you all the way back to this little girl, right? So if you in this moment, knowing what you know, and having already been through everything, if you can look back on that 7-year-old girl, if you can look back on that 9-year-old girl, and you can say anything to her right now in this moment to encourage her, that you believe will help her in a place where you didn't have that help then, what would you say to her? What is your 30-something-year-old self saying to that 7-year-old self, or maybe another 7-year-old, 9-year-old is out there watching this podcast? What do you say to her? How do you encourage her?
It's only can be dark for so long.
Mm-hmm.
The light has to come out.
Mm-hmm.
The light has to shine.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
Pain doesn't last forever. Nothing lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
It all goes away. It changes. That right there, what you feel now,
Mm-hmm.
the world will give you so many other feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hold on to it.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you can do, don't hold on to it.
Mm-hmm. That's
Speak.
beautiful.
Use your voice.
Powerful.
You're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're never alone.
Beautiful. Fast forward to the place where you were when you're at that point where you're going into therapy, right? And you're gonna get this help that you need in order to pull you out of the web, of thoughts that are holding you back. What I want you to do is I want you to speak to someone who's right there in that place, who's like saying, you know what? You know how people have all these thoughts and myths and negative things to say about therapy and telling your business, or whether it'll work, not work, the validity of therapists and psychiatrists and things like that, or the invalidity of them. Like somebody sitting in that place and they've got all these thoughts going on that's keeping them from actually going ahead and opening up because you had to do that. You had to overcome some things in yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to accept this help. So I want you to speak to the person who's stuck with making a decision to get help and accept help. What would you say to them?
Woo! About time.
Mm.
About time. You can breathe.
Mm.
That's what I would say. Breathe. About time.
It's about time. Just do it.
It's about time.
Mm.
Because if you get the right therapist, it's going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know how easy it was at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's after.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy. It was easy.
I know one of the truths in all of this is, right? Either you're going to deal with your issues or your issues are going to deal with you, right? And the beauty is when you can find that help, that right help, to walk through that journey with you, to hold you up when you're weak, to be your voice, like you said, when you're starting to whisper, and they can help you speak louder again,
Mm-hmm.
right? And those are all things that you can't walk through this journey without them,
You
right?
gotta have your big boy, big girl voice on.
Gotta have it on.
Can't nobody hear you whispering.
Can't nobody hear you when you're whispering. That is a word for a whole lot of people. In closing out this conversation, thinking about what is that final thought that that you want to share when you think about, here you are, you sitting on the end of this, of your positive, what you thought then were your possibilities. You're actually like flowing with it now. You're in the flow of it all now. Talk a little bit about just your celebration and where you are, and how you are feeling that you're sitting in a place of freedom, and just leave people out there who need help with an encouraging word so they can grab a hold of that same freedom that you have now. What's going on with you now? What are you doing? What's your great news today?
I deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
I deserve it. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Not just one thing, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels really good to get to that place, to say those words and truly believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And truly believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to a place and you realize that it's okay to live in your truth, I think that's one of the most powerful places to be.
Mm. That's good.
And that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do it by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do it by yourself. Sometimes it can be dark by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts can take you places.
Mm-hmm.
And without help, you won't learn how to breathe. You won't learn how to take yourself here and shut down that voice there.
Mm-hmm.
Or to be powerful, to speak up, to move, to understand that some things wasn't your fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and some cars that you were dealt, you can give them back to the dealer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and ask for another hand.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't just got to be the cars that you got to keep.
Exactly.
So that's what I would tell them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, it is never too late. It's really never too late. Took me a while to realize that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never too late. And that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for blessing me with these words today, for blessing all of those who are going to hear this conversation that we've had. Wow, your story is beautiful. You are beautiful. I am so excited to even just hear a rumor of all the other things that are going to happen in your life. So it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It has truly been a pleasure.
Thank you.